Okay, another Dave Campbell short. Self-governance is the topic. Self-governance. What in the world, Dave? What has self-governance got to do with anything? Self-control. The end times, the end of the gospel, the end or the meaning, the overall purpose of the Bible is self-governance. It's not walking on streets of gold. It's not coming down with Jesus on a white horse to destroy all the inhabitants of the earth. You know, it's having the Spirit of God in yourself. What is the Spirit of God, Dave? Well, if you're a scientist, I'll define spirit for you very quickly. In our state of being, it's absolutely critical for us to understand hot, cold, up, down, right, wrong, because in our dimension and our state of being, however you want to express that, we are walking around on this beautiful planet with other people. We have to deal with the forces of nature and the forces of wild creatures and all the above. We must get the opportunity to regenerate, to nurture, to keep the human race going. It's a state of being imposed on us from birth. Spirit implies ghost. Spirit implies something from the past, darkness, mist, spiral, whirlwind, you name it. It's mysterious. The Spirit of God in a person is the ability to discern. It's wisdom. Does that mean that the Bible is all just a bunch of stories? Sure it does. Does it also mean the Bible's full of spirit? Yes, it does. Do you know what the mark of the beast is? When you take your hand and you put a pen in it and you write on a piece of paper, you're practicing the mark of the beast. You are becoming a lawmaker. You're writing a sentence that should be executed by some other person. Unless you're just writing yourself a daily diary, but it still carries within it a command. It's for a purpose. It carries with it power, yet all it is a black mark on a white background, much like a stark spirit. So expression itself is a way to understand spirit. All right, now for all of you people who know I'm considering running for Republican, don't get so excited because I'll run as an independent or a Democrat if I had to. It's not about that for me. Well, Dave, you can't be a Christian and be a Democrat. Like hell I can't. There's lots of good Democrats who are Christians. Well, you must be pro-abortion. No, I'm not. Get that out of your head. You have got to grow up. People have a right to decide what they feel is good or bad, and those things change over time and maturity, don't they? How many times have you changed your mind? So anyway, the Spirit, going back to the Spirit, going back to science. Once you can use science to prove something is right or wrong by a hypothesis or a thesis that works good, a theory. We call it theory because it's a very wise thing to call it a theory, even though it's almost undeniable fact. The very basic truth is that because we have limited capacity, insight, and understanding, we cannot completely know the whole picture because we don't have the whole picture. Go up into the clouds and look up. You can't see what's on Neptune and Pluto unless you have studies. Then you make your best guess. But the data itself isn't all there yet. We haven't lived up there yet. So when a scientist says they have a theory, that's a good thing. It's just wisdom. So science and religion are really both telling stories. They're both expressing knowledge using methods that were available and are available to us. Today we have both religion and science, and it's interesting and exciting to me that we can still look back at old stories and find answers that can solve our biggest scientific and mathematical problems by studying the alphanumeric representations and expressions. I love the King James because it's chock full of them. There's patterns and different things, and I'm not an expert code writer, so I'm not going to publish a book. I'm just telling you they're in there. I might get crazy and point them out a little bit more. I have a little bit on my website, Dave Campbell Shorts, but let me give you a story that's going to really help you understand. You know the story of Job. Everybody knows that story. Well, you know Job's three friends, those three friends that badmouthed him so bad, and he's covered in boils. He's scraping himself off in an ash pit, and he's lost everything. And these turkeys are making fun of him and mocking him, and he's trying his best to make a case that he didn't do anything wrong. But yet God sacked him and hurt him, and the devil came to smash him down, right? Well, that's one of the best stories of learning about the spirit being inside of a person. Okay? There's three friends, quote unquote friends, but you never hear about them from the pulpit. No preacher ever talks about the fourth friend. He's the young man, Elihu. Elihu essentially listens to these guys argue and fight, and then he waits, and they're all done. Job is exhausted. The three friends are exhausted. They've been arguing back and forth, and then Eli lets them have it. He lets it rip, and he basically states that he is going to prove that he is a daysman or an intermediary between God and Job. And he's going to tell him exactly